Hello and welcome to the third video in our series on New York City school budgets, produced by New York City's Independent Budget Office. IBO is a city agency tasked with providing nonpartisan analysis of New York City's budget and policies. You can find us at our website or email us directly at the address here. This is the third video in the series on school budgets, also known as Galaxy budgets. In this budget video, I'm going to answer the question, what is in my school's budget? And I'm going to do it in two ways. First, what funds go into the budget? And second, what is the plan for spending those funds? This is important because school budgets show the resources that are available to a school and how the school plans to spend them. Two things that will be important to keep in mind as we go through this video. First, not everything in a school will be in the Galaxy budget. Some funding is controlled centrally by the Department of Education and does not appear on school budgets. Some examples of this are custodial services and school safety agents, which we don't see in the Galaxy budget because they are centrally managed. And second, remember that this is the school's budget, which means that it's the school's plan and not what the school has actually spent. We're going to start where we left off in the last video, where we showed you how to get to the Galaxy Allocations page. So what's on the Galaxy Allocations page? Funds are allocated or distributed from the Department of Education to individual schools in a variety of different ways, and this page shows all of the different allocations that make up this school's budget. Each allocation category or funding source is shown on the left, and amounts for each category are shown here on the right. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, we can see the total of all of these allocations put together, which for this school, which is PS 15, is a little bit under $3.9 million. Back at the top of the page, there are options to download the data to Excel, as well as to search by school code and fiscal year. Fiscal years basically correspond to school years, with the fiscal year lining up with the second half of the school year in question. That means that the school year from September 2022 to June 2023 would be fiscal year 2023 here. Note that you should be careful in comparing across years. You can see when this page was updated here on the right-hand side. So here it's May 25th, which means that the school year is not over yet, and the budget for this school could still change. While the school's budget at the beginning of the year is most of what that school expects for the year, the budget can and will change across the year as funds are added and policies are updated over the course of the year. We'll talk more about this in the next video. Now that we know how the page is organized, the next step is to understand the allocation categories. Each category has a corresponding school allocation memorandum, or SAM, which we'll explain in the next video. Those SAMs describe in detail where the funding comes from and how it may be used by the school. There's a large degree of variation in how restrictive these sources of funding are. Some have to be spent in a very specific way, while others give principals more freedom in how to spend them. In the next video, we'll talk about exploring the SAMs in more detail, but I'll cover a few terms and acronyms that appear in the Galaxy allocations now. Please refer to the glossary that's associated with these videos, or reach out to us at IBO if you have any questions after watching the videos. So the first one is TL for city tax levy funding. So all of the allocations that start with TL are city funded rather than state or federally funded. And one of the most important categories here is fair student funding, also known as FSF, which is the main way that DOE distributes funds to most schools. And you can see here that it is the largest category that we see. We'll discuss FSF in a later video in this series. I also want to mention a few federal funding sources. So here we have ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, and CRSA, the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act, which are two time-limited federal COVID aid packages that are set to expire by 2025. And finally, we have Title I, which is a large federal grant program that's meant to support low-income students. Again, we'll go into more detail about how to find information about each source in the next video. Now let's move on to the Galaxy Budget Summary page to see how the money from these allocations will be spent. To do that, we're just going to go back to the schools page with the back button, and then click on Reports, and then Budget and Finances, and then Budget Summary. So we can see here that the layout of this page is pretty similar, with the option again to search by school code and fiscal year. This page also links to a helpful budget summary glossary, which explains some of the terms that are used on this page. And again, on the right-hand side, we have the date that this page was updated. The main information in the budget summary is going to be the item on the left, and then the corresponding budget on the right. For staff, we have the number of positions specified here, as well as grouped into categories on the left-hand side, such as leadership, classroom teacher, and others. For some staff, there's additional detail on the type of class or service provided, such as whole class or integrated co-teaching for combined general education and special education classes. After some of these other staff position categories, including special needs support services, paraprofessionals, and others, we get to a couple of categories that are not staff positions, such as per diem and per session, which refer to staff pay on a daily or hourly basis, as well as OTPS categories. OTPS stands for Other Than Personal Services, which are basically non-staff costs, such as equipment and supplies. And then again, at the bottom of the page here, we have the total budget for the school, which again is just under $3.9 million. So now that we've reviewed the sources of funding, or the allocations on the previous page, as well as the budget summary on this page, the plan for spending those dollars, it's the principal, the school principal, who's the one who decides how these two things relate, how the allocations are used to plan spending. However, just by looking at these two pages by themselves doesn't show us how these two sides connect. This concludes the third video in our school budget video series. In the next video, we'll explain how to understand school allocation memorandums, or SAMs. Thank you for watching, and please leave any feedback that you have in the survey below.